bakit ka nandun sa likod ng bench, Francis Lopez?
Paasa no? Paasa.
Paasa ka. We don't know yet if you're gonna play or not, confirmed. Pero nandun ka sa likod ng bench. You're in the huddles. You're celebrating in the locker room. All signs point that he's going to play next season. And woo! Gusto ko siyang makitang lumilipad sa UAAP.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. So it's been a week since Ateneo won the finals, and we're back here today. It's actually December 24. We're doing a Christmas Eve podcast with Gab and Maui. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome back.
That's a rough intro. Rough intro, pare, yung video. But we got an intro video.
Gab,
we're still getting used to it.
Worry.
So, forgive us.
Don't worry. So, Christmas Eve day, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Season 85 in review. Okay, so we're going to recap Season 85, talk about the highlights and lowlights, and maybe some questions for the next season. This early pa lang, papag-usapan natin yun. But before we get there, meron tayong sort of breaking news, but I think it was announced a couple of days ago. Something that we talked about earlier in the season. Olsen Racela, the head coach of the FEU Tamaraws, has stepped down from the coaching position. So wala, he left, stepped down from the coaching position. So may vacancy ngayon sa coach ng FEU Tamaraws. I think some former players are front runners. I think I read si
Denok Miranda sa front runner.
Tapos meron pang isa yung import nila dati na parang coach somewhere, I forget, like
si sa Endaran ngayon, Papi Nondu.
Yun, si Nondu.
I remember him.
He wants to apply daw. Yun daw ang balita.
Nafi-feature si Nondu nafi-feature si Papi Nondu. He's been doing a great job with running Endaran basketball, I think.
Oh, talaga?
Okay, I see. Hindi ko nga alam yun Nabasa ko lang. Tama ka, Mau. Okay, so, yun, breaking news. Racela is out of the FEU Tamaraws, and I don't know if people saw or read that some of the star players of the Tamaraws also want to leave after hearing that Racela is leaving the Tamaraws. What are your thoughts, Maui?
I think kasi yung FEU has been under Racela for the past few years. It's either been Olsen or Nash. And I think yung cornerstone talaga nung FEU program has been both of them. I'm sad kasi actually, di ba, we called this nung first round. We thought that if they ended the first round on a sour note, probably it's gonna be axed during the end of the season. But for me, they turned around the season and they almost contended or even made yung Final Four. But the news is very concerning. I think first is Olsen Racela getting axed. It doesn't look good. With 5 players, sila LJ Gonzalez, Cholo Onanuevo, even si Tochuete is saying that Tyrus Torres. So 5 key players for FEU might leave if Olsen Racela does indeed not get a position or becomes a consultant, I think, for FEU. But I think what UP is trying to do is FEU is trying to do a UP. I think Olsen Racela might be transitioned into a program director like Bo Perasol. But to me, I think he's best suited pa rin as a head coach. Yung Racela Brothers has really done a great job with FEU, squeezing yung lineup nila for the past few seasons. Unfortunately for this season, they're underperformed. But I think the rest of the seasons, most of them, they really outperformed. Very big yung hit lang talaga ni RJ Barrientos, in my opinion. How about you guys? What do you think about this breaking news?
Breaking news, Gab.
Well, ako malungkot. Unang-una, I love Olsen Racela. Atenista siya. He was when I was still watching the PBA, he was part of the San Miguel teams na fan ako noon dati. So I'm sad for Olsen. He's taking the blame for a very rough season for FEU. Second, this is obviously not a step down, as the spin article is making it seem look like, or what FEU is press releasing. No, it seems like he was asked to step down, because why would you ask? Why would Olsen step down and then his players suddenly want to join him in exiting FEU, and the team subsequently asking the players to come back? Well, it doesn't make sense. So I have a feeling that he was asked to step down, and when the players heard it, okay, we're also leaving. We want to play under Olsen Rosella. Um, so yun, I don't think he stepped down
Good point.
voluntarily. But yung nga, if maybe he did, if he was offered a higher position, no, yung baka nga, yung tama yung sinasabi ni Maui. But I had the chance to watch FU this season for a couple of games, and I don't want to say na kasalanan ni Olsen, but partly rin yung kasalanan din ni Coach Olsen eh.
Bakit?
Their offense is really rough. Yung defense nila kaya eh. Yung defense, they're very scrappy, they switch a lot, mabilis sila, they play a ton of guards. Yung offense nila yung problema eh. They don't shoot 3-point shots. They shoot a lot of 3-point shots. They don't make a lot of them because essentially they only have one consistent shooter, Cyrus. Actually, hindi nga consistent si Cyrus Torres.
Hindi siya consistent this season. Yeah.
Siya yung shooter nila. Sobrang di siya consistent sa shot niya eh. So, Cyrus Torres is the only legit shooter who's not even consistent. So, yun. And their second problem is points in the paint. They get into the paint and it's tough for them to score in the paint. The only guy who gets consistent shots in the paint, si Patrick Chuente, and he misses a lot of them. So, as in, I've watched Patrick Chuente a lot, even in previous seasons when he was their foreign student athlete. He cannot finish. Ang hirap niya, and he gets a lot of the drop passes from the drives of the guards, and he can't finish. So, I mean, hirap ka sa loob, hirap ka rin sa labas. So, bang rough na offense. I think Coach Olsen could have done a better job being more creative with the offense. Because it's a lot of pick and roll eh. Just from side to side, pick and roll, drive, drop to the dunker spot, gano'n. Pero, yun lang.
Wala rin.
Walang masyadong offensive creativity, to be honest. And they should have adjusted. Given na hirap sila on offense eh. It's hard for the... If you remember yung one of their games against NU, they scored 40 points. Yung nalala niyo yun, yung game na yun, I think it's like 45 to 42.
Yeah.
Yung
Yung super
score.
grind.
Parang nasa 20, third quarter, end of third quarter na.
Yeah.
Nasa 20.
So,
20s pa lang.
So that's an example of what the season has been like for FEU. They won that game, but offensive struggle, they can grind it out on defense. So, but losing those 5 players, man, they're gonna drop next season. They're not gonna win a lot of games, and unless may magic hugot sila from somewhere.
Tsaka yung future nila, malaking bagay. I think si Cholo Nuevo is part of their future. He's currently on his second year, I think. And a prospect like Nuevo would probably, Ateneo, UP, LaSalle probably be salivating right now.
Yeah, and
Be honest.
they don't have a lot of height eh. They don't have a lot of height.
Off position
So,
din ang nilalaro ni Nuevo eh. Tsaka ni Patrick Sleet. For me, you're right, Gab. They don't have a natural big, only to Chuete. Nuevo and Sleet has had to play yung 4 slot. When indeed they could have been playing the 2 or 3 slot for them.
Yeah, so ako, sasad ako, but I can't blame FEU rin for moving on from Coach Olsen. I mean, it was a bad season and I didn't see much improvement from FEU offensively talaga when they struggled. So, Papi Nondo though, that's a great, what a name to drop this morning.
Diba?
Happy Nondo.
Gulat din ako nung binabasa ko Parang,
Actually,
wow, coach pala to.
Actually, si Nondo has
Go,
been
Mau.
gaining steam talaga. I think similar to Charles Chu, medyo under the radar coach siya.
Coach.
But if you follow a lot of analysts sa Twitter, I do, you hear his name a lot ng mga previous season. So it's not really surprising that he's getting considered for the FEU job, especially since he was a key player during yung mga runs nila nung early 2000s or probably early 2010s.
Yeah, tama naman, tama. So, there you go. I think pretty much you covered everything. End of an era, tama kayo, no? It's always been a Resela for the past how many years. So, it's an end of an era. Really good point, Gab. Yung questioning if he really stepped down or was he asked to step down. Siguro for me, just to end, like, reiterating what Maui said na I think we can't forget how big of an impact yung pag-alis ni RJ Abarientos. To your point, Gab, like, you always say FEU always plays like a guard-heavy lineup. They play a lot of their guards and yung offense nila always requires like really good playmakers or guards. And I think, to be honest, nobody really expected RJ to leave kasi first year pa lang niya diba? So, out of nowhere talaga yung pag-alis ni RJ. And I think that really affected yung offense din ng FEU or yung future ng FEU. I'm sure they expected him to play a few more years, pero nawala. And then Ojula, Ojula was an MVP contender. That guy could finish. Under the basket.
That guy could finish. He could be an option posting up because Chuente has no offense
Zero.
Yes.
He's rough.
Actually, si Chuente,
Ojula, ang lakas sa loob
Sobra. And di ba, Gab, I remember, ikaw yung nagsasabi, you should give the ball more to Ojula and let him post legit. Up. Sabi mo, di ba? Kasi it's not part of their usual offense, pero Ojula was that good. Etong si Chuente, pansin ko kasi, most of his points also like putbacks Kasi nga, sometimes pag nada-drop pass sa kanya, namimiss niya yung gimmies So, most of the time it's like a rebound putback, ganyan. Hindi sometimes.
Hindi rin maganda hands niya Hindi rin maganda hands niya.
Yeah, hindi maganda hands niya. It slips his hands a lot.
Okay. Sige, so that's it. That's it for the breaking news. So, Gab, I think Gab has questions for us, no? To recap
wait lang. Before we move on.
Go ahead.
The next question, just a question I want to put out there. Who's next to get the axe? If ever there's someone to get the axe.
I think pare-pareho na tayo sasagutin nito. But sige. Maui, bags mo mauna.
I think unanimous to Possibly we also call this Derek Pumarin could get axed this off-season. Alam naman natin kung ano yung pressure coaching Lasal, a program as decorated as Lasal. We've seen it in the past. Ang daming coaches, they underperform with Lasal and they immediately get axed. With Lasal's performance and with the Shawnee Winston issue and everything, it was also surprising to me na si Kevin Kiamba was thinking of leaving also. Na parang for a moment, parang they were asking if babalik ba siya or not. I think yung pressure sa Lasal.
Yung nag-reply pa nga si Alden Ayo, di ba?
Even si Alden Ayo, nasama na sa mix for potential coaches na palitan si Derek Pumarin, even if wala namang report pa right now na on the brink of firing ang Lasal for Derek Pumarin. But I think the pressure of really coaching a program such as Lasal, UP, Ateneo, yung mga contenders for the past few years, and I won't be surprised if Derek Pumarin gets axed, but we'll see itong off season. Definitely a news to look out for in terms of coaching. Derek Pumarin, I think, is delikado masipa for me.
Gab.
And just to add, it's not just us na mga Atenista saying na dapat si Derek Pumaren should get should step down as coach of Lasal. I know some Lasallian friends who also want Derek Pumaren to get out of Lasal. So it's not just us from the blue side. There are also some from the green side who also want Derek Pumaren out of Lasal. That's how pissed off they are this season. So yeah, I agree also. I think unanimous naman tayo. It's Derek Pumaren. Talagang underwhelming, very underwhelming season. Not entirely his fault, but a huge chunk of it is also his fault talaga.
Tama naman, no? Lasal was a lot of their star players were injured. They missed a couple of games, so not entirely his fault. But again, I think for me, agreed si Pumaren yung probably next if ever there was someone that would get fired. Sabi nga nila, where there is smoke, there is fire. We know Alden Ayo made that weird comment, although sinabi niya na there is no plan for him to go back, no? So parang
He's banned,
clarify niya
remember?
hindi na. Oo,
Yun
exactly,
pa.
exactly, no? So
Yun pa, may
clarify
ganun
niya
pa.
yun. But also, tama ka, Mau, Kevin Kiambao, biglang out of nowhere saying na, okay, I'm gonna go back in season 86. It's like, wait,
What?
were you thinking of not coming back?
Where
Parang
did that
out of
come from?
nowhere niya sinabi, di ba? So where there is smoke, there is fire, no? So I think there is something brewing in Lasal. Wouldn't be surprised if it happens. If it doesn't, then good for Coach Derek. He gets another chance next season with Kevin Kiambao, hopefully. But yeah, mukhang siya lang naman ang more likely. I think UE did well, overachieved. Adamson made it to the Final Four. UST just got a new coach, so I don't think like even though they're the bottom team, I don't think Baldavid is going anywhere. So Derek Pumaren, there's
Hey,
a target on his back.
hey, wait lang. Sa UST, hindi ako masyado sure dun. They've had 1-year coaches in the past.
That's true, that's true. Pero I don't know, I feel more hopeful. Although tama ka, Gab, I think some people are also pushing na ibalik daw si Alden, no? Or something like that. Ewan ko, basta naririnig ko
They,
din yun. But
yung
I think
people just
banned si
hate
Alden
losing.
in
Just hate
ano
losing.
na.
You people
Yeah,
just hate losing. So,
correct.
di ba?
Oh,
1 and 12, yung 1 and 13,
1 and
they're
13.
gonna
First
ask
game pa
for
yung
someone
napanalo
to
nila, di
get
ba?
to
So
take
13
Oh,
straight
against
losses.
Adamson, sayang.
13 straight losses yun. I mean, for a program like
Okay,
UST also.
Gab, you have
up.
questions for us.
All right. Okay, yes. Let's go to the juicy part. So, as a Christmas treat to all our viewers, we're gonna have like a season in review. I'm gonna have a few questions for the three of us. We're gonna answer. You guys can also answer in the comments. Uh, what did you think? And your takes on these few questions that I have. So, for my first question, in the Christmas spirit, uh, which game in this past season are you most thankful for? And to be fair to you for this question, you can't pick any game from the finals or the final four. So you can answer this like which game from the elimination round would you always want to go back to and watch again?
Ako na mauna.
Sige, go. Go, Mau.
Sige,
Ah,
Maui.
Go.
Wala akong maisip actually.
Ako,
Go.
if you talk about games, yung answer ko is not a game. Yung answer ko is the 10 games that UP and Ateneo played this season, the past 2 seasons, this year, this calendar year. I think most of those 10 games, lahat nail-biters, both finals games. Gab mentioned, don't pick a finals game. So I'm not picking any game in particular. But if you look at all the games, even yung elimination round, even yung 13-0 to 13-1 game ng Ateneo that UP won, all of those games are nail-biters and you cannot ask for more. Kahit si Coach Tab, ang sinasabi ni Coach Tab this off season after the finals, will hopefully see more Ateneo and UP games that go crazy. So I think I'm really most thankful for this year yung matchup ng Ateneo UP. You cannot ask for more. 10 games, one championship each the same year, and a 5-5 record for both teams. Yun.
Sige, Sam, have you thought of anything?
Honestly, wala akong maisip na specific game also.
Ako, I have two. Sige, I'll go first.
Hindi.
I have two. My first is we did a emergency podcast on this, Sam. Lasal UP round 2. I would go back if that is playing on the UAAP Varsity channel or on One Sports. I would watch that game again because that game was crazy. If you remember, Sam, this was when LaSalle was up 10 with less than 2 minutes remaining, and UP stormed back to tie the game.
Yeah. Naalala ko, nagte-text tayo nun, di ba? Sabi mo, panalo na LaSalle, choke UP.
Yeah, this was when we were counting LaSalle out for the season. They had lost. They had fallen to, I think, 4-6 or something like that. Then they go out and play the best game of the season against UP. And this was the game that I would call this the Kevin Kiambao game, where he was just eating alive Zave Lucero and Carl Tamayo on offense. He was getting putbacks, getting block shots. This was the Kevin Kiambao game. So I would go back and watch this LaSalle UP game if ever there were hardwood classics counterpart in the UAAP. If they show it on TV. I think the UAAP Varsity channel does. I would watch this game. This game had all the twists and turns, had all the storylines. You had Carl Tamayo and Kevin Kiambao yung going after it talaga. Mike Phillips, those monster dunks by Mike Phillips. You remember this, Sam? He had 2 monster dunks in this game.
Man.
So, for me, that's one. UP LaSalle round 2. I would go back and watch that game. That was solid. That was a treat to watch talaga.
Wait, ano yung second game mo?
I was gonna reserve it yung after you gave yours. My second game is also a UP game. So lahat si game lahat ng UP kasi yung UP yung puro nail biter eh. My second game is UPNU round 1. Yung naalala niyo ba to? This was the return of Steve Nash Enriquez.
Maganda nga.
Okay.
This was the return of Steve Nash Enriquez. This was the first loss of UP. In the first round. And I want to see this game for 2 things. It's very thematic for season 85. One, because it showed na NU is legit. Diba? They were coming off the Phil Oil off-season championship. They played pretty well in the preseason leagues. But you kind of get gotten says maybe they're middle of the pack. They could make the Final Four as a 4 seed. Diba? We picked them, Sam, as our dark horse number 4 seed. But when they beat UP in this game, holy shit, they are contenders. Malakas tong team na to. NU is legit. So that was the first thing that this game did. The second thing that this game did, it proved to all of us that UP is vulnerable because they started 5-0. And all those games, all those first 5 games, they were down except for maybe the US, some games. Basta they were down, tinambakan sila, habulin nila, mananalo sila. They would just turn it on in the second half and they could win. They looked unstoppable. And this was without JD Kagulangan in those first 5 games. Diba? So, when they lost this game, nagka-hope ako, pare, na parang, kaya tong UP. Kahit na gaano sila ka-deep, gaano sila kalakas, kaya tong UP. So, and it was a pretty entertaining game as well. Sobrang nail-biter to. Steve Nash Enriquez played the game of his life. And I know he got injured again in this game. He was holding his hamstring again in this game, but he continued to play it. So, para sa akin yun, UPNU round 1, UP Lasal round 2. Kung may dalawang games na babalikan ko talaga, na hindi Ateneo games, those two games. Sobrang ganda ng games na yun.
Okay. Actually, good point, Gab. Now that you mentioned it, I really love that UP Lasal game. Kasi I was gonna say, nung tinanong mo yung question na to, nag-iisip ako, sabi ko, ano yung best game ni Kevin Kiambao? Iniisip ko, ano nga ba yung best game ni Kevin Kiambao? And I would say that would probably be one of his best games during the season. So, it was fun watching him that game. Tsaka talagang lumaban si Kevin Kiambao sa game na yun. So I think that's a good pick for one of the best games. Pero honestly, when I think of like the memorable games for me, one team comes to mind. Alam mo sino, Gab? I think it's your team of the season. UE.
UE.
The UE games for me, yung mga panalo nila.
That's good.
For me, especially, sorry na lang sa Lasal community, especially the 2 wins they had against Lasal.
That's good.
I think those were crazy games. The first round, because it was out of nowhere. Nung first round, magaling pa yung Lasal nun eh. I think it was like their second I think it was coming from the Ateneo win or something like that.
Yeah, it was coming from the Ateneo win. Exactly, it was.
So, we were scared of Lasal. Parang, oy, shit, legit tong Lasal. Lakas ng Lasal na to. Ganyan. Then out of nowhere, it was a close fight all throughout. And then I remember, sa office pa, nagpa-uwi na ako from the office noon. Out of nowhere, parang last 2 minutes, parang 8 straight points UP and they won that game by like 7 or something like that. So, it was a surprising win. So, masaya siya, no? And that's a UE team na, again, walang FSA, walang foreign student athlete. So, was surprising for them to be out-rebounding or battling yung mga giants of Lasal. And then, the second round, yung encore performance ni Remogat o si Remogot. So, after almost beating Ateneo, he proved to everyone that it wasn't a fluke. Took the game to overtime, and that was a crucial game for Lasal. Lasal was fighting for its fourth place, standing in the fourth place, diba? So, took the game to overtime. Panalo na Lasal nun eh. I was sure panalo na. I forget how.
Panalo na sila. They were up big.
Yeah, and si Nonoy was waxing hot, 'di ba? Parang 2 back-to-back triples ata siya or back-to-back, baka 3 tres pa siya or something. So akala mo panalo na, and I forget how they came back or stormed back, sent it to overtime, and then they win it in overtime with Remogat hitting clutch 3-pointers. So for me, it was just a really fun UE team to watch, and I think one of the reasons then why I sort of put it on top of the others. Luis Villegas. We all love Luis Villegas. We're all fans of him. Unfortunately, 1 season lang siya. So I think for me, that's why I cherish it even more. Kasi ngayon ko lang siya makikita eh. So, yun, memorable for
me. And if you remember, nung second round game, pare, he sprained his ankle in this game. He sprained his ankle. He had 4 fouls. He was still playing. Si Luis Villegas, wow! Sobrang grabe, and he was pouring it on. You asked us how they got back into this game. The same way they were into games the whole season, just by shooting threes. Ganun lang ang UE, they just shoot a lot of threes. They just shoot.
But they make it. They make it.
Yeah,
not
and
like
they make it.
Analytics yan, pare. Shoot threes and layups only.
Yeah. Shoot threes. Ang saya lang yung panoorin talaga ng UE, especially tama kasama against these Lasal games. Dahil, they run sobrang modern basketball eh. They run up and down the floor. They do pick and roll. Tapos if you don't cover Kyle Paranado on the pick and roll, just kick it out to his brother. In this game, si Remogat, si CJ Payawal, who's underrated. That guy doesn't do anything else but shoot threes.
But shoot threes. Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree, Sam. Those Lasal UE games were pretty good. Plus, it was Pumaren disciple Jackson Tiago against a
That's
Pumaren.
true. Yeah.
I think you called it, Sam, si Jackson Tiago out Pumaren Derek Pumaren. Diba?
Pumaren.
You
Oo
you
nga
you
eh.
you said that in one of our episodes. Good
Tsaka,
choice,
tsaka,
good choice.
tsaka ano for me, both games, Lasal was coming into with all the momentum. I think yung first round, they beat Ateneo. Yung second round naman, they beat UP and NU, I think, back-to-back
And you, back to
they
back.
went
Oo, tama ka
before they
dyan,
went
Mau.
into the UE game. So parang your expectation was massacre na Lasal to. All the momentum was in their favor. And then out of nowhere, these UP shooters ang first round yung Paranada Brothers, and then yung second round si Remogat. So kakaiba rin nga yung UE Lasal games this year.
Okay. Next question, Gab.
All right. Good answers. Good answers. Good answers. My next question, let's get a bit more juicy here. So for this season, if our viewers are not fa- familiar, the UAAP changed their formula for the MVP for deciding who's going to be MVP. So in seasons past, of course, statistical points and some points for games won, but usually the statistical points, I think it one statistical point per category yung ginagawa na, or I don't, I'm not sure. I have to recheck
Blocks
the
and
form.
rebounds, I think more nung previous
Oh,
seasons.
but now they changed it
Steals.
to counting assists and steals as 2 points each, right? So they favored it that way. So my question to you guys is two pronged. No, first, what do you think was the reason behind this change? And second, do you agree with it? Let's go to Maui first. Mau.
I think yung rationale nila for changing the formula was really to try to give yung locals a chance to win yung MVP award. During previous seasons kasi I think yung last MVP winner na hindi foreign student athlete was, if I'm not mistaken, si Kiefer Ravena pa ata. In all previous seasons, Kwame, D of won this year, but sila Kwame and si sa UST and
Chabio.
si Chabio, and then si Bright
Bright.
Akwesi
Embala.
before Embala. So I think Embala 1-2 ata. So parang sunod-sunod, parang past 5 seasons, you always see a foreign student athlete win the award. But to me, yung rationale is wrong eh. These players, these FSA players, uh, they're the same players as yung locals. I mean, you shouldn't discredit them being winning the MVP award. They are students as much as they're athletes for the same schools. Other leagues like the NBA, they don't have an award for an American MVP and a foreign MVP, or it's just I don't think it's right what they did, penalizing yung big, especially yung big man, um putting more emphasis on assists and steals over blocks and rebounds is not the right formula for me. Maybe they should go a different route. Siguro do it like the NBA na media awards, or pick the coaches will decide who really won the MVP award. I don't think this is the right formula for me. It's a bit discriminatory for me. That
Yes, exactly, Mau.
they're
Good
doing
point.
it to foreign student athletes. All of them are student athletes, so all of them have to have the chance to win the award. I mean, yung rookie of the year nga, uh, very for me, medyo ano rin eh, medyo screwed, medyo mali din yung bawal manalo yung hindi first timer, hindi straight from out of high school. I think any player that's playing his first year in college should have the chance to win yung rookie of the year. So I really think they should revisit this ruling.
Sam.
100%, 1000% agree with everything that Maui said. I think you covered everything in Maui. Number one, I think changing the rule to sort of help a different position or a different group of students, I think medyo weird yon. Tama ka, Maui. It's a bit discriminatory if you think about it, like to foreign student athletes. It's like, the other people who are saying, oh, dapat hindi foreigner yung coach. Dapat Pinoy yung coach. Alam mo yung mga ganong sa PBA, sa
Yes.
UAAP, wherever. It's kind of like that for me. But I, I, I sort of understand why there needs to be a change in how the MVP is determined. Pero I agree with Maui also. I think this is not the way. I think I was also gonna suggest something similar to the NBA. Maybe something like yung statistical points. You don't need to change it. The old statistical points was okay already, but maybe it consists of 50% of the voting and then 50% of the scoring. And then the other 50% you leave up to voting. Because sa akin naman, what I see is wrong with doing the statistical points, although it's very objective, yeah, so objective, which is good. Sometimes for me kasi, at least when we did our MVP voting, I voted Jerome Lastimosa because for me, when I say MVP, my definition, at least again for me, I know it could be different for everyone, is the most important player to your team. Na if that player is gone, the team will really not win anything. So I see some value in having like a voting system, let's say na 50% would be based on voting if some people feel like dapat ganun yung pag-vote ng MVP. So that for me, like if you wanna introduce changes or sort of tweak the MVP voting, I agree. We could do it that way, but changing the computation
Points,
of points
point
to
system,
favor like guards
guards.
or local guards like doesn't make sense to me. I agree with Maui on this.
So,
Saka to add lang, sorry Gab,
go lang, go lang.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but even the PBA does not rely solely on statistical points. May votes talaga, I think, from the coaches,
Media
and
votes ata no?
may media votes. I think the MVP award cannot be purely objective. It Players like Jerome Lastimosa will never win the MVP award, but they're as valuable to a team such as like a Diof is to a UP, or even Kwame is to
Kwame.
Ateneo. I mean, without Jerome Lastimosa, yung Adamson, I'm sure they will be a seller their team this season. So yun lang, just to add.
Very good points, both of you. As in, spot on talaga. I think we're all in agreement here. This is, okay, real talk tayo. This is very stupid. Real talk,
Diretso mo na.
pare. I'm
Tama, diretso
sorry.
mo na.
It makes no basketball and mathematical sense why you would double the value of assists and steals. Not even in fantasy basketball. Maui and I play fantasy basketball. Assists and steals are not more valuable than other statistical categories. It's just not. Okay? So yun nga, the the only reason that we could think of is para may konting disadvantage yung mga big men who are mostly foreign student athletes.
May
And
handicap, no?
yeah, and then make push the points towards the guards who are mostly locals. This is stupid. Think of it this way. I think this is classic Pinoy crab mentality at work. Diba? Kapag Pinoy yung magaling sa ibang bansa, happy tayo. Well, kung mag-award ang isang Pinoy sa isang liga sa isang bansa, si Kai Soto, kunyari, kung Mythical 5 siya sa NBL, happy tayo. Pero kung ibang nationality mag-succeed sa atin, defensive tayo, ayaw natin, nagiging sobrang yung uncomfortable tayo. So, kailangan yung mga Pilipino yung i-award. Di ba? Hindi tama eh. Di ba? Yung happy tayo para sa Pinoy sa ibang bansa, pero pagdating sa atin, wala. Yung kailangan yung Pinoy pa rin. So, tama kayong dalawa. I think there should be a change. I think this rule change has been it's pretty under the radar. They didn't even announce it. Remember? if you weren't
Gulatan na lang, gulatan.
if you weren't privy to the actual goings on in the UAP, you wouldn't know that they actually changed the formula. Diba? Magugulat ka na lang nung statistical leaders ng first round, si Sonny, saka si Fortsky. Oh, diba? And just as a aside, you right back into their faces, si Malik Diouf pa rin nanalo.
Magaling mag-assist din yun, si Diouf.
Oo.
Saka steals.
Magaling
And
din mag-assist.
saka steals.
Steals ang
Siya
nila.
steals. Yeah.
Kaya si Kwame na unahan niya.
So, good points, both of you. Great discussion. So, let's move on to our next question. So, my next question is, for this season, the UAAP instituted the Coaches Challenge as something new to the games, which was pretty interesting. There were some coaches who used the Coaches Challenge at crucial moments of the game. There were some coaches, like Coach Gold, who used the Coaches Challenge in the first quarter.
First quarter.
First quarter yun, bye.
First quarter lang, Mau. First lang.
So there's some interesting wrinkle there. So my question for you guys is, what rule change would you like to see implemented next season? Rule change meaning, would you like them to take back certain things from the game, or we want them to add certain things to the game next season? So, Sam, ikaw naman sunod. Nakamute ka.
Rule change. Not sure kung anong rule to, pero maybe something I just noticed at least this season. Mas prominent siya this season. Parang sobrang daming reviews for me this season, and it's sort of I understand it, no. Like for me, the reviews, I think it can be helpful. We want to get the calls right. If mali yung call against our team, nabuburat tayo, diba? Kahit ako nabuburat, parang hindi ba yun foul, or parang outside yun ng kabilang guy, are you blind, ganyan. So I appreciate yung reviews. We want to get the calls right. Pero sometimes, I don't know, in particular, I guess, dahil may recency bias ako, I think we talked about this. Nung game 3, the first quarter was like 1 hour long, or sobrang haba talaga nung first quarter. So for me, that's something I noticed all throughout the season. I don't know kung ano yung rule exactly that needs to be changed, or ano yung process that needs to be changed, but it's just a bit unclear to me when they decide to review something, and then when they decide not to review something.
Yes.
Other than yung last 2-minute out of bounds review, parang kung feel lang nila mag-review, then they review. Parang that's how
Yun
it
nga eh.
seems to me. So I think that's something that needs to be more structured lang. If there was something that I would change.
Yes. I think we all, alam natin yung in the last 2 minutes of the game, pwede mag-review. I think we all know that rule, di ba? But the problem is, yung tama ka, Sam, even in the first 3 quarters, nag-review pa rin sila ng play. So, what's the rule? Akala ko last 2 minutes lang. And then, every time somebody grabs onto something or nahulog, they go to a review. It's just, yun nga, you talk about game 3 of the finals. It took 3.5 hours to finish. That's more than any NBA finals game I've ever watched in my life. And we play 10-minute quarters.
Yes.
Diba? That's crazy. So, I do agree with you, Sam. Those rulings on when to go to the review should be clarified. Kasi honestly, ang bagal ng game. Especially pang high-intensity crucial game, it's so slow. It gives an extra timeout also to the teams.
Well, that's
Diba?
true.
Yeah.
Maui.
Ako actually, Sam, naintindihan ko yung rationale behind all these reviews. Yung problem is lang, we're trying to replicate like the NBA in terms of like reviewing crucial plays. And the NBA has a replay center. Ang problem is with the UAAPs, we don't have the capability and the capacity to review faster. Diba?
Isang screen
Referees,
lang yan pare sa
yes.
sideline.
Walang budget. Walang
Kung nakita
budget.
niyo yung referees, pumupunta lang sila sa scorer's table and they watch sa screen. And I don't even think yung replay and yung pag-replay is super fast. Baka faster pa yung sa telecast sa TV. Kumbaga, yung mga nanonood na replay na 5 times, baka yung sa referees, hindi pa. To be honest, I think we are on the right track in terms of that. But unfortunately, they have to work on it. Having games na 3.5 hours is crazy. Isipin mo, imagine this season, some of the games start at 6 p.m. Yung final starts at 6 p.m. And the games end at 9:30 or even almost 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Diba? These are
Yes.
student athletes. Most of your viewers are students.
Yes.
They have a life. We have a life. So, dapat these games should be shortened.
Ako rin na tatay na may baby. Kailangan ko na matapos agad to para patulugin ko yung baby ko.
Yeah, so
Ayusin nyo
these games
naman.
are crazy. Parang dalawang game na into one. But the UAAP talaga, hindi sila self-conscious sa time eh. If pati yung mga Ateneo Lasal games dati would reach 3 hours in 3.5 hours, even without yung reviews pa. So it's crazy. They don't really think about people. But yeah, I think we're on the right track. For me, the UAAP is a very progressive league. Props to executive director sa Gisag. I think he's doing a great job. But they have to work on this. 3-hour games are crazy. As far as the rule changes, mostly yung rules kasi ng UAAP really follows yung FIBA rules. But one rule I think that I don't really like is yung possession arrow. I think yung possession arrow, I'm not sure kung yung rule pa rin is kung 2 minutes jump ball na. It used to be like that, but I think right now hindi. Parang may crucial
Parang
plays
hindi,
sometimes.
Mau. Parang hindi.
Yeah, yun nga eh. Yung initial rule, I think initially yung rule was pag last 2 minutes jump ball instead of possession arrow. I think yung rule sometimes is ano siya eh, advantageous siya to a team even without them knowing. And I think they should reinstate yung last 2 minutes sa possession arrow. Imagine being down by 2 or 3 points and then nag-possession arrow to the other team, di ba? So parang it's a big thing for me. But I think, yeah, I mentioned this, yung UAAP naman is a progressive league. So they really look at different angles. As far as the officiating go, that's a different story.
Great answers.
Yep.
Both of you. Ako, very different from the two of you. Although, yung agree ako sa pareho, especially yung mga reviews. The rule that I want revisited man lang, hindi man lang change, is the faking a foul rule, the flopping rule. We had this since dati pa because a lot of players were flopping. But it's very very subjective. Let's just put it that way. I said this offline, not in one of our episodes, but I'm gonna say it now. Kian Baclaan should make a protest to the UAAP board or the UAAP commissioner's office because he got suspended for faking a foul for kicking out his leg and falling. But JD Kagulangan gets the benefit of the doubt. He does this
Natawa
every
nga siya,
game.
diba? Parang yung sa finals, I forget what game that was, pero parang na-foul siya, tapos parang pinake lang yan, tapos parang natawa siya, like, nakahiga siya sa floor. I remember that.
Game 1 or 2.
2 ata.
2, yeah, 2.
Anyway,
so,
go.
Yun, it's a very subjective rule. At yun nga, there are some players who get the benefit of the calls, some don't. Like Kian Baclaan. Kung ako si Kian Baclaan, bibigay ko lahat ng mga video evidence. Sabi ko, bakit ako tinatawagan ng faking a foul and got suspended? Si JD Kagulan does this every game and gets free throws. So, yun para sa akin. Kailangan, I do agree. Actually, hindi ko alam kung dapat may faking a foul rule. Yun nga flopping is part of the game.
FIBA yan,
diba?
FIBA rule.
So,
I think yung point mo talaga is really consistency. Consistency is officiating. Not just with faking a foul.
Yeah, so yun lang. It's hard talaga to watch a lot of flopping. It's true naman. You don't want those antics naman talaga. But just some form of definition or yung nga, consistency in calling it would be better because it affects how the players play, it affects how the game is being played. Sige, let's move on to I get my second to the last question. Uh, my second to the last question. We're pretty big here in Boleros about the coverage of the UAP. We've been talking about it since season 84 when Dale was on our podcast. Uh, we always noted how since season 84 the coverage has been lacking at certain points. So, uh, what do you guys want to see improve in the coverage for season 86? Anything, whether social media coverage, TV coverage, accessibility, kayo bala.
I can go first. Two things actually for me that I sort of want to see. First of all, I want to commend them yung coverage for season 85. I think it's a lot better than the coverage for season 84. Nag-improve naman. I think nakikinig sila sa podcast na to kaya nag-improve din. So ito dun sa mga part of the coverage team or TV5 One Sports, please take notes. I think the first one, which was raised by you, Gab, and recently na-raise na concern dahil sa E-Heads concert. So ako, most of the games that I watch via the Smart Giga Stream app, which I think is now Smart Stream or something like that. The problem is because I don't have cable TV anymore or whatever antenna TV or TV in general, and I think everyone ganon. The problem is dun sa Smart Giga Stream app, you either have to have number one, I think you need to have a smart mobile number for you to log in sa app. And then number two, for you to be able to stream, you need to use smart data or PLDT fiber data. Sobrang restrictive
Discriminatory.
niya.
Discriminatory.
Sobrang discriminatory. And I think it was an issue when people were watching the E-Heads concert. They paid 650 pesos to watch the live stream. And then they found out they couldn't watch it kasi wala silang smart or PLDT internet. So they paid, but they didn't know that they couldn't watch. That's how stupid this filter was. Back then, nung sa ABS-CBN pa, it was on YouTube. NCAA is on YouTube. Like, I don't understand why you want to discriminate against people that want to watch. Second, hindi lang yung mga smart users or hindi lang yung mga non-smart or non-PLDT users yung hindi pinapapanood, pati yung mga people that are outside of the Philippines. There are Filipinos everywhere that love to watch the UAAP and you're not allowing them to watch the UAAP. Case in point, we all know that we said that Dale is in Australia studying. She watches via illegal streams because it's the only way for her to watch. And I think
Nilaglag mo,
that
baka
is
mamaya.
she watches legit. No BS. That's how most of my friends outside of the Philippines watch the games. Kasi walang avenue or channel for people to watch in an easy way. So I think that's something that they need to work on for the next season. The second thing that I just wanted to add, um because and this is something that I don't think has ever been done before, but I wish we can do. I actually want more coverage for other sports, not just the men's. To be fair
Yes,
to
good point.
the
Good point, Sam.
coverage
Good point.
now, I watch via the Smart Stream app. They actually post highlights and the full games of the women's basketball games, which is great. Sobrang kudos to them. And I hope that they will cover all the other sports as well. Even yung high school. Kasi I always say, I'm a fan of the high school basketball games. So I'm wishing na they will also upload that on the Smart Stream app. Crossing my fingers, no? So I think the other sports also deserve to be covered so that people can appreciate it more. So I think for me, those are the two things that they can work on in terms of the coverage. Maui.
Maui.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Sam covered most of it. For me, better coverage by the UAAP sa men's basketball, definitely. I think season 84 yung first year rin kasi ng One Sports to handle, and they really did a great job this year. But as Sam mentioned, for me, it really boils down yung accessibility. Uh, People were used to watching it sa YouTube and even sa app ng ABS-CBN, which is better than I think yung Signal. Ako naman kasi I use the Signal app. We also don't have cable TV. And I noticed sometimes pag crucial games, pag big games, especially yung the finals game 3 was really horrendous. Nawawala-wala yung stream, nagiging black na lang bigla yung stream, yung audio distorted. I think they really have to work on yung social media. People nowadays, especially yung foreign, yung kababayans natin na OFWs, which really are also basketball crazy and sports crazy, and very school fanatic people. They want to watch the games. I think tayo lang yung, when you talk about coverage of one sports, tayo lang yung FIBA nation na hindi napapanood sa YouTube yung national team, even yung Gilas. So I think one sports, the TV5 group has to look at this. They're missing out on viewers. Do you want to miss out on viewers just to be able to corner yung market sa app nyo or sa
Tama.
channel nyo? I think
You'd think the sponsors would want more viewers, diba? Yung mga sponsors nila, diba? You always want more viewers.
Yeah, so hopefully actually ito Christmas and New Year wish ko, because I'm a basketball crazy person, especially for Gilas and UAAP. Sana ibalik nila sa YouTube talaga yung coverage ng UAAP. Actually, I haven't been watching a lot of NCAA basketball sa local NCAA basketball, pero I was very surprised na nasa FB Live, napanood ko FB, Facebook Live and YouTube yung game 3 ng Letran versus
and you can rewatch it. They're on YouTube.
Yeah,
That's
actually,
my other point.
yung pa yung
yung FB Live Mau legit din. Legit.
Yeah, legit.
Din.
Oh, wow. GMA yung nag FB Facebook Live. And when you upload these things sa YouTube also, you can rewatch them. Yung previous seasons, especially nung dulo ng ABS-CBN Sports, I would definitely rewatch games, especially mga nail biters. Like yung games na mentioned sa top games namin, yung Lasal UE, yung Ateneo UP games, even yung mga minention ni Gab na games na nail biters, na NU games. These were easily accessible. Kayang-kaya mo panoorin yung replays. And I think if you upload them on YouTube, pwede ka pa mag-ads even if you rewatch the game. So I really don't get the rationale why they remove this feature sa UAAP basketball. So hopefully it becomes available easily. Kasi kawawa talaga. I mean, kawawa lahat, especially yung OFWs. Yun yung Sam mentioned si Dale. I haven't met Dale, but I'm sure there are so many people na our friends and family that want to watch the games live. And resorting to these illegal sites is not the way to go, definitely.
Maui, question lang dun sa, since you mentioned you watch sa Signal, don't you have to pay to be able to watch there or hindi naman?
No, it's
free.
Basic.
It's free.
Free basic.
Free, pero SD yun, hindi high definition. You have to pay an additional 75 pesos to watch high definition for a show na hindi mo naman for an app na gagamitin mo lang, so like for me, for a person like me, solely for UAAP. Tas horrendous. If you cast it sa TV pag SD, sobrang horrendous. Even worse than yung free cable TV. So kailangan, definitely you have to pay. And I think I don't know, there's a better way sana talaga ibalik sa YouTube.
Tama. Ako rin talaga, yun yung go Sam.
So Maui, ikaw nagbayad ka, 'di ba? Kasi gusto mo HD. Tapos you can't rewatch the full games? Wala siya doon.
I don't think I'm not sure.
It's gonna be like
sure.
Old school Sam. When people were asking me, how do I rewatch the game? Sagot ko, you have to wait for it na yung i-replay nila sa TV or sa app. Which is crazy.
Sa Smart Stream app kasi you can search for it. Siguro a week delayed. I-upload nila yung full game.
Diba?
Pero yun, kailangan mo ng smart number or use smart or PLDT internet.
Pare dati YouTube parang the night on that same night or the
Yeah.
following day nandun na eh. So parang
Mga 2 to 3 hours later, no?
'di ba
Parang
Oo.
ganun.
paano yung mga nagtatrabaho din na hindi naman mapapanood yung games, especially since the UAAP has 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock games. So 'di ba parang it really doesn't make sense. Yung accessibility is not, it should be a priority for me. I think hopefully si Mr. Executive Director Sagisag will bring this up sa postseason nila analysis.
Great points, both of you. Spot on talaga. Ako, just to add lang, I was gonna add about uploading the games on YouTube because yung nga, nasanay ako sa ABS-CBN talaga. If you weren't able to catch a part of the game, you can just watch on YouTube and catch that part of the game. Diba?
Tama.
Diba? This thing that you're waiting for a replay in this age of on-demand content is really stupid. Yung hintay mo yung replay, pare, sa TV, siguro mga 10 o'clock pa yun ng gabi. Oh, ay, pare, kala ko na matulog. Or may anak ako, hindi ko mapapanood yung replay. Diba? Doesn't make sense talaga. May additional point for the coverage. Ako, we've been griping about this, Sam, since season 84. Ako talaga stats. I can't believe we're still dependent on Tong Ducanes uploading the
Thank you,
screenshot
Pong
of...
Ducanes. Savior ka,
Diba?
savior ka.
Saka si Flo, si Coach Enzo, yung prof natin
Yeah.
ng high school. Sa sobrang
Sir
purat
Enzo
niya,
also.
gumawa siya ng compiler ng stats kasi bakit daw wala online.
Diba? We're still relying on screenshots of a PDF file. Bro, come on. How hard is it to make a website? With all the money, you have all the money in the... Not all the money in the world, but I'm sure may budget kayo just to pay a third party to put up stats for you. Come on. Bakit screenshot palagi? Yun lang. So, there, the stats. So, we're going into an hour na. Last question na lang. Siguro yung let's make it fun. Looking forward to season 86. Which recruit from any school are you most looking forward to seeing?
Gusto mo maunaho or Maui?
Sam, go. Sam, go.
Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
I think baka I wanna swerve pero I can't help it. I think I have a feeling unanimous to pero it's going to be Mason Amos for me. Why? Because we saw him in Gilas Youth. So I'm hyped for Mason Amos not just because I like Ateneo, I want him to play for Ateneo, but I'm hyped for the future of Philippine basketball. Nakita natin siya sa Gilas Youth, this 6'6", 6'7" guy na ang laki, tas nagsi-step back 3-point shot. It's so you wouldn't expect what he can do. Yun na lang, very unexpected yung mga nagagawa ni Mason Amos. And so, for me, yun, just hoping or excited to see him play under a system like Coach Tab's system. Hoping that he would develop not just for Ateneo, but also for the Philippine team. The future looks bright for the Philippine team. We finally have like guys with decent size like Amos, Tamayo, Baltasar, may Kai Soto pa tayo, KQ, Kevin Kiambao. It's just so exciting to see now. Parang norm na sa atin makakita ng 6'7", 6'8" guy that can play the 3 or even the 2, no?
Finally.
Dati sa atin, 6'4", 6'5", Enrico Villanueva, MVP center, dominant center, parang Shaq. Ngayon, wala na yun. Ano na lang yun? Guard na lang yun ngayon. So, really excited for the future of Philippine basketball and really want to see Mason Amos go up against guys like KQ or Carl Tamayo.
Maui.
Yeah. I think kung kaibigan mo ako, sigurado, ilang beses mo nang narinig sinabi ko yung pangalan Mason Amos, I don't know. Everyone is hyped. Kasi siya yung best player nung under 18 team ng Philippines and he was probably one of the top players in Asia, not just sa Philippine team. He's a very efficient guy. I think we will have an episode definitely to talk about prospects. We'll get into more detail during those episodes. But for me, just to add to Sam, definitely Amos is a person to watch, but I think we saw sila Earl Abadam sa Lasal played really well yung season na to. He was also part sa under 18. But I'm also excited dun sa mga other LSJH people na nasa Gilas under 18. One is Joshua Coronel. He plays like Abadam. He's a shooting guard, small forward, and he's
With
listed
length.
with length, and he's listed as 6'4", 6'5". So I think he will take the UAAP by storm. Another is Seven Gavit. He's 6'7", 6'8".
7 Gagate.
Seven
Gagate.
Gavate. I think he's a big man, but also plays similar to. He has a mid-range jump shot. He's 6'7".
Are they all committed to Lasal na, Mau?
I think right now wala pang confirmation where they're going, but I think these
Most
are some players.
probably.
These are some players that you want to look at. Definitely, I think sa Lasal won't let them leave. They'll do everything in their power. So especially ang ano ko talaga actually excited. I used to play guard, so I really like yung wing players. So si Coronel, like Abadam, is really a person, a player that I'm looking forward to. I watched a lot of under 18 games, and this guy really played spectacularly. Similar to how Dave Idelfonso was playing when he was playing for the youth team. So he was going head to head with players 2 or 3 inches taller and playing guard, doing it all, rebounding, slashing, and then so hopefully we see more players like Abadam and Coronel, 6'4", 6'5" guards who can play the wing position, shooting guard, small forward. It will be great for competition and definitely very exciting para sa national team natin.
Sorry, Sam, it's not gonna be unanimous. I love Mason Amos. I saw what he was capable of in Gilas, pero Francis Lopez got me hyped.
Oh,
The
yeah.
fact that nandun siya,
LeBron.
Game 3, in a blue jacket, warming up. Of course, we all know he's very athletic. I think that's the main point why he's so hyped. He's very athletic. He flies. If you go to his Instagram, puro highlights ng mga dunks niya. Diba?
May
May
mga
pati
highlight
yung
pa sa covered courts yun dati.
Yeah. Diba? So I'm just hyped. I just want to see him play. Second, I'm rooting for him, pare, because he's had it rough. Diba? He's had it
That's true.
pretty rough since he left high school. You know, he wanted to play in overtime elite. Allegedly had troubles with his visa, so couldn't fly to the US. Then just sort of disappeared and then showed up in the Gilas pool. Was not really given minutes by Coach Chot. And just rode the bench. I don't know why you put him in the lineup if you're not gonna play him anyway. And I do want to see him develop his game because the athleticism is there, but I want to see him get better because he has so much potential. And seeing him run the floor with Fortsky passing him the ball and he's flying, I am so hyped. Bakit ka nandun sa likod ng bench, Francis Lopez?
Paasa no? Paasa.
Paasa ka. We don't know yet if you're gonna play. You're not confirmed. Pero nandun ka sa likod ng bench. You're in the huddles. You're celebrating in the locker room. All signs point that he's going to play next season. And gusto ko siyang makitang lumilipad sa UAAP. So yun, to end our podcast. Sorry, halos puro Atenista. May nag-mix in naman na Lasalista na sinabi si Mau. Pero Atenista kami. Yun lang. Sobrang in the know kami sa mga recruits ng Ateneo eh.
Yeah, just to add dun kay LeBron, I think to be fair kay Chot, ano yung nag-second place tayo na competition. I think Asia qualifiers or something like that. I think naglaro si LeBron doon, medyo babad siya. Scored a couple of baskets actually in a lot of those games. Tapos I
Pero
think
tambak na
na-sprain
yun
lang
eh.
siya eh. Kaya hindi may decent ano siya, may decent minutes din siya. Pero yun, na-sprain.
He's,
Alam ko na-sprain din siya eh. Na-sprain siya nung game na yun.
okay.
Tapos I read just last night. So, yun nga, Ateneo is trying to push for him to be able to join the seniors team. Pero ang sabi is, obviously, it has to be discussed with the Board of Governors. Kasi unprecedented eh. Someone that has because he signed a contract already but he never got compensation or he never played. Eh, di ba, technically, like, if you get compensated, parang semi-pro ka na or pro ka na. So, yun yung gray area. So, I think it has to be voted on by the board, by the UAAP board, before they find out if LeBron can play. But, obviously, Ateneo
He
wants
doesn't want to be called
him to play.
LeBron, pare. They
Ayaw
call
niyang
him Francis
LeBron.
now. Ayaw
Francis
niya
na.
LeBron.
Okay, sige.
Para sa akin, ano lang, vote for him to play. It's me campaigning for him just so he can develop. Kasi kawawa yung kawawa
Yung
siya,
bata.
honestly. He doesn't have anywhere to go. Diba? He's 20 years old. He's so young. He's not yet as good to go to the pros. Diba? For me,
Para
he
sa
has to
Gilas din
develop
yan.
somewhere. Oh, diba?
Para sa Gilas.
And sa Gilas, he's not gonna get that much minutes if he's gonna play with PBA stars.
PBA,
He's
yeah.
just not gonna get minutes. He's not gonna develop that way. So for me, vote, parang na yung unang kampanya, no? Vote for him to play para lang mag-develop siya for the kids' own good. Yun lang para sa akin. So, yun lang. And that's it.
Okay.
To end our podcast, Sam, you sign us out na lang. Good job,
Okay,
boys.
that's it. Super long podcast. This is our Christmas gift to everyone. Hope you enjoy your Christmas Eve and your Christmas vacation. Happy holidays to everyone. If you have any comments or suggestions regarding this discussion, just comment down below. And if you haven't yet, like and subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers para we can at least monetize it. If you love the podcast, please support us. Help us
Straight
get to
up. I
1,000
love the real
subscribers.
talk.
Thank you. Christmas wish list namin yon. Thank you. Happy holidays. Take care,
Happy
everyone.
holidays.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everyone.